You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Tiona Hobson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV's After Show for Rookie Blue. It is Season 5, Episode 4, Wanting. I am your host, Tiona Hobson, and tonight I have two co-hosts. I almost call you guys ho-host. Well, that's a different kind of episode. Two co-hosts who I will let introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marisa Serafini.
And I am Yvonne Masoinette.
And welcome, Yvonne. Thank you for joining our panel.
Thank you.
We needed someone else here.
Yeah, shake it up a little.
Yeah, I mean, I like Marissa and all, but like, come on.
We're kind of sick of each other, so we needed to add something new.
Yeah, we need a little extra flavor in the mix, so we got that for you guys. Tonight's episode was definitely action-packed and full of drama.
A lot of suspicion. You know, like, we didn't know who it was, and just pointing in all the innocent people that were caught in between.
Yeah.
I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of innocent lives. Let's get into this case. So it's clearly Canada, and clearly there's gangs.
It's wild down there.
It's wild out there. It's like the Wild West all of a sudden. Got shootouts, got all these people down and missing.
Yeah.
So McNally and Duncan respond to a call, and, someone has found a man who's been shot in a stairwell. They get there and find out that the guy actually is still alive, which is good. But, then it becomes the whole thing of, like, why was he shot? Was, he the victim or a target? Everyone comes in. He has a past with, breaking the law and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, Duncan jumps to conclusions very quickly because he's still a rookie and,
I mean, that's so typical Duncan, though, because, we even saw at the beginning where Andy was questioning Duncan and, Oliver was like, give him some freedom. Let him decide things and do things on his own. And then, I think Andy gave him a little bit too much freedom. Yeah. We'll get into that. But we saw Duncan very much being a rookie tonight.
Totally.
And it's something that, we keep seeing and we keep saying.
You keep holding out hope. Yeah. Like, okay, next time he's going to come with it. And now it's kind of like, all right. But if you ask me, I kind of have a feeling that there's something sinister going on when it comes to Duncan.
Yeah, I feel like he's not all there most of the time because he acts very aloof at times, and it's like, okay, if you're a cop, you got to be on your toes. You have to always be aware because at any point something can happen to you. You should be one of those people who's constantly looking around if you're a cop.
But do you think he's really just like this innocent rookie, or there's something to discover about him? There's something else, I have a feeling we're going to find out something.
I think that there is a little bit more to him, too.
I think there's more because we also, with all of his naive, situations that he deals through and goes through and stuff, it makes me question how the heck did he even get out of the academy? Yeah. How did anyone pass him and say he's good enough to be on the field?
Well, we know who his stepdad is.
Yes, and we know.
He
obviously has political pull, which doesn't help with his intelligence.
Yeah.
It does not. It does not help.
Seriously.
Well, in their rookiness, everyone makes mistakes, but Gail and Chris are, upstairs checking rooms. Gail opens up the laundry room door and finds another victim, a woman there, and she's still alive, and all she says is Sophia. That was the name, right?
Yes.
I thought it was Sophie, but yeah, sure.
Sophie.
Sophie, okay. I was like, it's very low, so I couldn't hear exactly all the names. I might have missed a couple names, so fans, make sure you help us out with the names if we get them wrong. And so, we find her in the laundry room, and then Dove, Nick, and Sam find a third person who was actually in his apartment, who we then learn is the actual target of this whole gun violence.
Yeah.
His name was Donovan Cody.
Dominic.
See, I told you guys I was really bad with the names tonight. And he's the head of the Jameson gang. I remember that because Jameson whiskey. That's how I put the connection in my head.
That's a good association.
Yeah, it's like Jameson whiskey has a gang.
And he's definitely did his, face in the carpet. Whatever.
Yeah, that was
he's gone. But I felt so bad for the other two who got caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the way the woman in the laundry room, it just came through the vent.
Through the vent.
And then, they think she's going to live.
Horrible luck.
Yeah. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
Talk about, but I mean, the father, Daryl, who was in the stairwell, he actually saw the gunman coming out and was running away. Not that that makes it any easier, but she didn't even have a chance to know that a bullet was coming her way.
She's doing laundry.
Yeah,
innocently.
Probably, she wasn't even facing the vent. She was doing
just
the
hit.
laundry.
Yeah,
I mean,
she may not
from the back.
From the back. She has no idea what just happened. And she next thing you know, she's out on the ground and
calling
for Sophie. Who, by the end of it, we find out, who Sophie is and all that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So we have this case going on and, this gang member, and something that they said in this scene was, he's the head of the gang. They usually have a crew with them. Why was he alone? And that was the thing that kind of set off in my mind when we finally do see his second in command show up, Shay, and that other guy who was just way too much. He was acting all extra. He was just a little too hyped about it. No, this is so and so.
Too much of a show.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like Shay did it because it's always the second in command.
I was like, you had the leader and then you had the followers who just try to pose pretty much. Like they are big hot shots.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah,
and Shay says, the two gangs, because it's the Ruiz crew, or what was the other gang? No, Ruiz was the leader of that other gang.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I have Ruiz's crew.
Okay, well, Ruiz's crew, they had a ceasefire going on.
The truce. But they, so everyone thinks that, clearly these two are beefing. Maybe the truce is over now. So it's all set up to look like it was Ruiz crew?
Ramon Ruiz.
And what was the whole, how they put the sticker with the skull?
That was the mark of the cocaine that his crew kind of
was known for.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they kind of left it there as this is
signature.
Which I'm sorry.
They try to frame Ruiz's crew for the death.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to leave my business card inside the mouth of the guy I just killed. How stupid would I have to be?
So you gotta leave someone else's business card.
Yeah, here's someone else's. Which I just thought was really funny that that was even a thing. But Shay and the other guy who was acting all out, they're like, okay, we'll be calm for today, but tomorrow, it's on.
It's on.
So basically,
so my question is, okay, if you're part of this gang and you're trying to be all big and hotshot, and you go to the actual crime scene and you're facing police officers, what more can you do right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're going to shoot up the place with a bunch of people who know how to use firearms.
So instead, he's like, we're coming back tomorrow.
There's not much they could have done anyways.
Well,
just to prove their point that they weren't part of it.
I think they were just saying mostly okay, we're not going to go attack, because once you have a ceasefire broken, it's like you go eye for an eye between the gangs. So I think they were like, okay, we'll stand down and we're not going to go attack them today, but tomorrow's a different story, which don't tell the police officers. You just confess to a premeditated crime to the police officers. That's more time.
And it's like tomorrow, if we find out that or is it just tomorrow they're just going to go attack? That's kind of like...
Tomorrow they're going to find one of them walking down the street by himself and just drive by and shoot him. And then boom,
someone
the war's back.
It wasn't us.
Yeah, I mean, that's how...
Very funny.
Yeah, so that's not smart.
No.
But meanwhile, at the hospital, Andy and Duncan go to the first victim house, Daryl, and they find his son Marcus at home by himself. His grandma's at work, so they pick him up, take them to the hospital. And Duncan. Just, again, so bad at social cues. because, you know, there's a little kid who's home by himself. And, I mean, not to pull the race card, but there's a little black kid who lives in a bad neighborhood.
You bond with the kid.
Yeah, who a police officer's at his house. Kids like that in those kinds of neighborhoods don't trust police officers. So when they're like, what's your name? And he's like, why should I tell you? And he's like, because we're police officers and you should. That's not how you get them to talk to you.
You don't roll up on a little kid like that.
No. He's little. I mean, I don't think he was, you know, I mean, he was probably scared. You know, he's home alone. You don't know.
And trained not to trust cops, like you said.
Yeah, not to trust cops. So he's not going to be forthcoming with information. But Andy handles the situation well, like she always does, because Andy just gets people. And I think that's one of the greatest traits in her character. She knows how to
sympathize and empathize with people. She knows how to connect and the need for human connection and to actually get onto their level and like connect with them in that way, have similarities. You know, when you're going into basketball, hey, you know, I'm sure you could probably take Duncan.
And I love the comment about his small lady hands. Was it? Yeah. And that was perfect, you know.
That was perfect.
She kind of got to get a jab at Duncan.
Get a little jab in there at Duncan.
But to open the kid up
too.
Yeah. You know, it's like that's how you get them to trust you. And I think Andy does a great job, you know, out of all the rookies, that even though she's all dressed up in her police gear and, you know, the big bulky like bulletproof vests and stuff, there's still something that when you look at her when she's talking to civilians, she's very much on their level. And you forget that she's wearing all that garb, and you know you think you're just talking to your neighbor.
I agree totally.
Yeah, because she even said her first name. I'm Andy, because when she first introduced themselves, Officer McNally, then Andy, it got a more personal.
And she got Marcus to tell his name that way, right? Because at first he was kind of like, "Why do you want to know?" And then she introduced herself, and then that's how she made him feel comfortable.
Yeah, and luckily his dad is doing okay. You know, the surgeons think that he's going to be fine, and then they bring grandma and kid there, and they're questioning him there. And then Duncan has another incident with Marcus when he goes to get him, when Andy's like, hey, why don't you take him to go get something to drink? And first he doesn't pick up, oh, there's a water fountain. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I get it. And then they go over to get something from the vending machine and the grape juice.
And even then he kind of rolls up on him again with the grape juice. And
he's like, you know, my partner sent me here to talk to you so she could talk to your grandma, but I think you know more about the case. Which, I mean, his instincts were right in that regard, but it's still just the whole approach that he went through.
And there's something about Duncan that I feel like he does have the right instinct a lot of the times, because he points things out, and a lot of times he's right, but it's just like he doesn't know how to deal with people. And he kind of, you know, that whole rookie thing gets in the way, but I think it's a little more extreme than your average.
Because he definitely has good instincts. He definitely says the right thing sometimes. You know, his hunches are correct. Because even in, when we first were hanging out with him, when they were at the consignment store.
Oh, right.
You know, he was like, hey, you know, why are we letting the bum leave? Like, that was a good instinct, but, you know, it's just the execution that he fails with most of the time. It's that execution.
Yeah.
Of course, Marcus doesn't give him anything because Marcus is smarter than him in this moment.
He's a street smart kid in general,
Yeah,
you did have lady hands.
That was cute. He got a nice little jab in there. He's like, yes, Marcus. So then, you know, we know who... we know that everyone's after the Ruiz crew.
Gang.
And so they set up a whole task force to get out there and grab the guys and stuff. And Andy and Duncan stay back at the precinct to kind of do all the paperwork, because Andy's like, it's all about the details. And then conveniently, Duncan's like, oh, hey, so am I going to get reimbursed for that grape juice that I bought the kid?
That cost like probably $1.29.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's Canada, so isn't everything like $1 more usually?
Probably. All right, $2.29.
And he wanted that money back.
Yeah, he wanted it all back. So it's very important. Apparently, rookie rate is not very good at the division, so he needs that money.
Yeah.
Well, in this conversation, you know, Andy realizes there was a receipt from earlier where Daryl had bought coffee and a grape juice. So that's the connection. She's like, wait, Marcus had to have been there with his dad.
He's a witness.
Yeah, he's a witness now. He saw something. They go to the hospital, and Grandma had sent him back to their house to get her pills. And so then it's like the race to go
He took the train back.
Yeah, he took the train back.
He took subway. Yeah,
the subway.
But it shows that Marcus was smart enough to know how to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
And, like, he can go off on his own. So if he was at the scene the first time, he's smart enough to know how to get back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he could have taken off and, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the part that, like, we will really get into later when Duncan and Andy go back to the house. And Andy tells Duncan, you know, circle the block because, you know, it's the neighborhood where people do not trust police officers. So you don't want to be the house with the cop car and, you know, everyone knows that you're talking to cops. So she goes in to talk to Marcus, you know, gets him to tell her that he was there with his dad. He saw who shot him. You know, it was Shay. I forget his last name, but it was Shay.
Shay.
The second in command of the Jameson crew. And then you know, we see that Shay's car pulls up, that black Cadillac.
That was like a scary moment.
Way to get like a cliche car there, gangbanger.
Here he comes.
You're the bad guy.
With a big giant gun that he pulls out.
Yeah.
too.
I got that.
And so Andy sees it, calls immediately for Duncan for backup, puts out a radio like, hey, we're going to need backup here. Like, our suspect is here. All the whole nine.
Fired.
Shots fired. That was scary.
That was so scary. And what was that about? I just have to know, with Duncan freezing like that.
Duncan completely froze.
That's when he lost me.
A panic attack.
The hope.
Yeah, he had a serious panic
But
attack.
that was like really
car.
bad. Was
That's
that
like
a panic
the worst
attack?
time to do it. And also because we even saw, you know, before they got into the car, before they started their day, you know, she was like, you know, this is why we have partners and backup.
Yeah. And he's always wanting to be part of the action.
Hey,
Yeah,
boss.
and then-
Anything, boss?
Yes, I'm ready.
Actually have a situation where you can step up and be that partner, be that backup. He completely froze.
This is where, like, you know, everyone might say, oh, maybe, you know, Duncan, he's just a rookie. Right there was like just that moment when it's like, I don't know anymore.
And do you guys think it was the moment of he's just still too green and maybe he needed more guidance, and this is now a real life situation, he's out of the academy? Or is it, you know, kind of what Shaw was saying in the beginning of the episode, like, if you have an instinct that he's not cut out for this, you know, let me know.
I just think there's something up with him that we're going to find out. I have a feeling that it's not just so cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because, you know, nothing was really provoking him. He was just sitting in the car and no one was talking to him or scared him. It was just, he had the opportunity and he was just freaking out in the car.
There has to be,
so
like,
something happened. Something snapped within him for him to not be able to execute.
Maybe it's PTSD. Maybe he had something traumatic in, like, his childhood, or maybe something happened at the academy with, like, an accidental shooting or something.
Kind of weird. Also, because when he was in the house in the former episode, he was like to go arrest people, jumping all in people's face. So it's kind of weird that he does this now. So I'm quite curious to see.
Yeah, he didn't fuel up this week.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, it might have been that.
Might have been a little bit of that. Luckily, Andy is able to handle the situation on her own. She hides Marcus. Her and Shay have a little bit of a shootout. I mean, that bullet came very close to her face.
Very close.
The whole time, as soon as he took that step over and she was behind the banister, I was like, oh no, Andy doesn't know that he has the gun, and he has like a great shot if she peeks her head out.
Right there.
Now.
I mean, the bullets can go through that staircase wall that she was behind.
It was clearly he wasn't smart enough to just start shooting at that.
Well, it's good that he wasn't smart enough.
But I wasn't not expecting him to be so bold. I mean, gangbangers, I guess, tend to be bold, but like shooting at a cop like that, it just seems crazy.
Also, the cop's inside the house already.
She knows who you are.
She knows who you are. She knows what you've done now. Clearly, she's called for backup.
I'm thinking
so
running would have been
out
better
of there.
for him. Yeah,
before you give the cops time to get there, and then you go outside, and now
of a police officer.
So many more charges on top of the one death and
double murder,
and then.
Well, he was probably going to take out Marcus too, because he was another witness and all that.
Which also, Marcus texts his friend to say, hey, my dad.
And that's what led Shay.
Yeah, led Shay straight to him, because tight neighborhood.
Travel.
That's a bad neighborhood that's run by a gang, so they're going to know everything real quick. Yeah. And he doesn't need that getting around.
So now Shay's he's arrested. He's the
so now backup came.
So
it wasn't
there
from
goes
Duncan.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so there goes that. His whole master plan to get the two gangs fighting again because he was mad because they had this ceasefire and he thought that they should be fighting back instead of taking the higher road of, you know, no more violence. So his idea kind of was to, you know, kill off.
Take him out.
And then go hit off a 12-year-old.
And then go...
Smart.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it's like, hey, okay, if I can get this started up again, he's second in command. He'll be the leader, and then it's his regime, and they get to do whatever he says.
And do you think Marcus's dad is cleaned up, or do you think, like, you know, like there was the question?
There was the question about it. I think so.
I'm surprised that they didn't really go more into that. If they're going to tell us that he did have history and for possession and assault, you think that would like add to the being a part of a gang or anything like that. But they really didn't wrap that up. I think he is clean because he didn't do anything for 10 years. He now has a son, but he does know his ways, you know, with gangs and stuff. So I mean, I think they could have touched upon that a little bit more and made it more clear cut.
Yeah, left the question. I
think it explained the reason why the gangs are still in that neighborhood, because, you know, if he was gang related and he's still getting his life together, okay, that's why they live in this neighborhood. That's why his son knows, you know, that's the connection to how small the gang community is in that world, where, you know, word of mouth and stuff. And clearly they leave him alone because, you know, they respect him and know his family. But then, you know, as soon as his son started talking, then it's like, okay, well, you know, you guys were cool, and we're not going to come after your son to recruit him into the gang, but now that he's talking, now we have to silence him, kind of thing. But I mean, not to say that it's right or wrong.
It's just dirty.
It's just dirty.
Dirty business.
Dirty business. Before we move on to the next topic, I want to talk really briefly about our founder, Marisa Menounos' new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness. It is summertime, ladies and gentlemen, so if you want to get those bodies right for the pool parties you're going to be attending, then you definitely need to pick up a copy of this book. It has recipes, exercise advice, and pictures on how to do all the different exercises, and it just tells her journey. I mean, hello, she went from a size 14 to a size 2. Sign me up. Like right here, gotta get on that, right? So make sure you guys definitely pick up a copy of it and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the book. Let us know what you think of our show. Make sure you subscribe to our show on iTunes and go on YouTube and leave us comments and tell us all your theories and what you think. What do you think about Duncan?
Yeah.
Is he good cop or horrible cop?
Curious to think what people think.
Yeah. Rookie. Is he good rookie or terrible rookie?
Or does he have any hope? That's the question.
Is there any saving Duncan right now?
Is there any redeemable qualities in him?
Yes, because right now it's looking kind of bleak for the guy.
Not too many friends.
Yeah. And speaking of him, I want to just talk a little bit more because at the beginning of the episode, Andy kind of tells Shaw, hey, I'm not sure if it's me who could be a better TO or if it's him, but, you know, there's something off with this relationship. It's been 5 weeks now, so she kind of thinks that he should be stepping up and feeling a little bit more comfortable in the game, and he's just not. And then, I mean, we see what happens during the episode, you know, with him freaking out in the car and just his overall correspondence with Marcus. And then by the end of the episode, you know, finally Andy has to go to Shaw and be like, I mean, she's pissed, as she should be.
Yes, finally she kind of
rightfully
lost it.
So.
Yeah.
Because we also saw that Andy was also being too nice at the beginning, having clear reports on Duncan, not saying all the details, obviously. And now sometimes you actually do have to be the person to step it up and be honest, like, hey, you're not you know, working up to the best of standards. I do have to write you out for this.
Because he's going to be on the force. I mean, that's putting someone out there.
Yeah, but it's like, hate me now, but seriously, this was your doing that you didn't step up to the plate.
Exactly. And I
that's
think
not my fault, that's yours.
And I think it's a very fine line. It's kind of like parenting, how you have parents who want to be the kid's friend, and then when the kid starts messing up, it's like they still want to just be the friend. But you have to have that fine balance where you can still be fun mom, but also when kids screwing up, it's like, okay, kid, snap it back.
Yeah.
You know, you pull in the reins to kind of get them back on that. And Shaw does tell her, you know, why don't you try loosening the reins a little bit? So she lets him drive for the day. And that doesn't work out so well because then he doesn't drive the car back to her when she needs it. And
maybe this is his wake-up call, you know? Like, maybe her finally going to Shaw and her kind of getting pissed at him. Maybe this will be, if he's the good guy we assume he might be, that, you know, this will straighten him out because maybe he just had too much leeway.
Too much freedom.
Yeah, she wasn't tough enough, so he didn't take it seriously enough. I don't know.
Do you guys think that Andy should have been the TO in the first place?
No. She's the one that, you know, really volunteered herself when everyone else was like, no, you know, we had someone else. And even Sam was like, I didn't want you to be the TO. And, you know, we saw Oliver had doubts in her being a TO. And that was Andy's doing. She wanted to be this sort of one and prove to everyone else.
Well, Sam did encourage her to take it. He told her, you should do it. And Shaw was like, Andy, I don't think you're ready for this.
That's what I was going to say. She wasn't ready.
To challenge herself, yes, but I don't think Andy should have done. Because we know that Andy makes a lot of mistakes, too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too long ago that, you know, she was, you know, messing up Sam's undercover life. And, like, her life was in danger and all this stuff.
Just
you know,
like
it's like
yesterday.
Yeah, it was just yesterday.
She didn't know what she was getting herself into. You know, like, I think she was just
I just think that for the TOs, I think it should have just been someone a little bit more veteran on the force. You know, you need someone like Shaw who's been there, seen it all, really knows what he's talking about. Andy is still new to the force. Not to say that new people can't train, but she's just still so new that I feel like if someone a little bit more vetted should have been.
I would put Duncan with Nick. He has military experience. He has field experience in the police force. You know. And he's a guy, and Duncan's also a guy. I think it would have been better to pair up him with a guy. Not being sexist or anything, but I think that would have been a better pairing.
Yeah, and also, why did they let her if she wasn't ready? I mean, I know she wanted to, but maybe
I think
can't just
what was
blame
that
her for
inspector
that.
guy's name that I don't like?
Jarvis.
Yeah, Jarvis. Because, you know, after she said it, it's kind of like if it would make the division look bad again if someone's like, oh, I'm going to do it, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, you're not, because they're kind of under a microscope right now, just with everything that's happened at that division, sadly.
Yeah.
They just have the worst luck at that division, or a horrible neighborhood to monitor. Like, I don't know which one it is.
That's the challenges.
Yeah, facing lots of challenges. But Shaw does tell Andy at the end of the episode during their meeting, you know, that Duncan's probably going to face, you know, what was it, a suspension pending investigation, and he might get his badge taken away.
Yikes, so soon.
I mean, rightfully so, though.
That was a big mess up.
He lied. He also lied.
Yeah, he lied
to his TO, and he purposely turned off his walkie-talkie, his communication device. So, I mean, he deliberately didn't help Andy out and didn't give the backup when he should have.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not going to show up, at least talk to her.
Turning it off,
I
just cannot.
The turning it off.
That one was like, have your panic attack. But when you turn that off, that right there is kind of like the thing. Like, why did you turn that off? That's intentionally tuning her out.
Yeah.
What if she panic attack?
What if she had been shot? What if something had happened to her in there? And you just turned off your walkie, and then tried to come up afterwards, like, "Hey, boss, I don't know what happened. I got turned around all these one-way streets, boss." And I was like, "Stop saying boss."
His character comes into question. Before it's like, oh, innocent, you know, rookie, but that to me just totally.
But you know, he was deliberately lying.
Yeah.
He wasn't being honest.
We shall see about that one.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Gail, who has just broken up. Well, not broken up. She's just not friends with her anymore. Yeah, she's just not talking to Holly anymore.
This is a shame. I liked Holly.
I know. Yeah. She was fun until she wasn't when she got with her friends.
Stand up for her.
Yeah.
Until the friends make you show your true colors.
Yeah. So Diaz, you know, has had another late night with
the girl.
He doesn't say what girl. And
which girl?
Yeah, he's telling Gail, you know, kind of teasing her, like, man, you're kind of telling her you're kind of like a dude, like you just get over things so quickly, and you're never fully invested in things, and you don't let it affect you. And that's just something else that, you know, Dove was giving her kind of like a hard time about last week, and I was like, these guys need to stop teaming up on her, because clearly she's one of those girls who has the really tough exterior, but inside is like a fluffy little marshmallow.
Yeah.
You know, and clearly she has feelings, but just because she's not showcasing them at work, because hello, don't bring your personal stuff into the workplace, especially as a cop, because personal stuff gets in the way and you lose focus and someone dies. You know, so I'm totally on Gail's side right now. Like, if you want to be an emotional wreck outside of the office, that's fine. But once you come into work, I think that you should be focused together and no one should know that anything's wrong with you.
And I think they give her a little bit of a hard time because of her tough shell, that they're harder on her, and she's so soft inside that I think it's taking a toll on her.
Yes. Which isn't fair.
No.
But, you know, I think it might get into prediction, Terry. I don't think that's the last of Holly will be saying.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They'll be making up or something.
Yeah. Gail will come around.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I hope so. And, I mean, Gail, you know, after she finds her victim, you know, she's covered in blood, and she goes back to the precinct to get changed. And by the time Chris makes it back over to the precinct, you know, he tells her, oh, I stopped by the hospital, and, like, it looks like she died. And they weren't able to locate anyone named Sophie. No one knew who she was. They went through the whole apartment building asking, you know, does anyone know this person? The superintendent didn't know her, or not the superintendent. This isn't school.
What is it?
The super.
The super. Yeah.
Supervisor.
Yeah. The manager. Didn't know who she was either. No one knows this Sophie. So Gail, you know, she really shows that she does have a heart and she does have feelings, because she's like, wow, you know, this person is all alone. I can relate to that. You know, what if, you know, I were to die and none of my friends knew and no one knew how to find me? That's the saddest thing in the world. So she goes back over to the apartment building to look for keys to an apartment or something. And right when she finds them, the cutest little girl comes walking in, and she has the same keychain. And she's looking for her mom because she wasn't home when she got home, like she usually is. And Gail has to take her in, and that just broke my heart.
That was heartbreaking. That was
hard to watch, especially because we saw Gail being emotional, and she's not the most emotional person. She doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve. And then when you see Gail is really emotionally affected, that affects us too, because this is real. This is hard hitting.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's this little girl too, so she gets emotional at a moment when this little girl is like, why is the cop crying? You know, like, it's tough, but it was just too much for Gail. It's a lot to deal with.
It was a lot in one day, and it turns out the girl's name was Sophie, and her mom's name was Trina, so her mom was just trying to tell someone, you know, her daughter.
Look for the daughter.
Sophie, that's so sad. Oh my gosh, I have chills right now talking about this.
And also because they thought she was going to live.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like,
I kind of was like, oh, Daryl came through fine. Of course the other one's going to be fine too, because they were both alive, and didn't think.
Yeah. Innocent bystander.
Yeah, and that's just the worst.
And her little Sophie was just so
and little
she didn't even see it coming.
Looking for Mama.
Meanwhile, Mr. Diaz, what was he up to in that
what is that?
Shady
area talking about I want the same stuff, buying stuff from Mr. I had all these girls and I was up all night. Up all night snorting stuff.
Or shooting stuff.
Snorting, smoking.
I don't do drugs. I don't know what you do with it, but he was doing something with that stuff.
What was it?
I mean, I know that Diaz went through a tough year last year.
Very tough year.
Very tough year.
I mean,
but resulting to drugs, I'm hoping that he is working a case that he's not supposed to be working on.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing his own sort of, like, investigative work.
Like, undercover, doing something.
Like, but it's not sanctioned by the police or anything, so no one knows. It's totally off the books. I really, really, really hope that he's not actually using drugs.
I hope not, too, because
he's
such a good guy.
Or something.
Yeah, and he kept sniffing all episode. He had that coke nose going on.
Yeah.
You know, he was like,
like
just always sniffing and wiping his nose. I don't know.
Or maybe he'll start doing the crack walk.
That would be funny. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with Diaz. But that seems so unlike him, because he's so by the book and by the rules that I feel like something more is going on than what we just...
But that might be cool, too, because, you know, sometimes people seem to be so straightforward, and then they're not. And this could be
what that is. Down a crooked road.
This could be Diaz's... Down. And then my favorite storyline, oh my gosh. Guys, awesome. Chloe, I'm sorry for all the bad things I said about her during last season at the beginning, because I was not a Chloe fan at the beginning. I thought she was kind of too much. She is my savior right now because she is so cute and so funny. She's got an itch that won't stop itching. She's just very itchy all over. So it's been, I guess it's been like 5 weeks, we could say.
That's
since
a long
there.
time, though.
That's tough.
I mean, I don't blame her.
I mean, I don't, but then, I mean, 5 weeks is only a month and 1 week.
This is true.
But since she died on a table and was like shot.
She did die.
She was seriously injured. So it hasn't been that long, but the doctors have told her to take it easy. So she's living with her parents. Her parents are cooking her meals, driving her to work. Dove is barely giving her a peck hello. So she's on that bike,
treadmill, like a crazy woman.
Bike,
Hey, you have to get your rush somewhere.
Yeah, she is trying to work off
So much
some
for taking
energy.
it easy.
Endorphins kicking.
Those endorphins.
And there's a moment when you see she's on the treadmill and he's checking out her butt, and so you know he's not like, we know, she doesn't know, but like he's peeping that.
Too.
Yeah, he doesn't want to like
you
stop
know
her heart
you want
again.
it. You know you want it. Anyways, so she resorts to going to Nick to kind of do some investigating on the DL, which again, poor Nick.
That was so funny.
People come to him with the craziest requests.
But he's the nice guy who will do it because he's purely the nice guy.
Yeah.
You can trust him.
You can trust
him.
him.
He's not doing it in a malicious way.
Yeah.
He does it as a good friend kind of person.
Yeah.
That's why he did it, right? Like,
yeah,
he actually tried
I kind
to
of feel
hook them
like
up.
he did it because Chloe was crazy. Chloe had
she was going
crazy
eyes.
crazy eyes going on. Yeah, so she was given a little too much. I might have been like, you know what? If you will stop talking, I will go over there and figure out a way to talk to this guy. And Nick is horrible at trying to get Dove to open up.
That was so cute.
It was really
cute.
Dove's like, why are you asking me these questions? What's going on? Finally, Nick at his like breaking point is just like, look, dude, Chloe wants some. You gotta give her some. And then he just pulls them both together and he's like, you want sex. She's not gonna break. You guys go have fun. Go have sex.
She's not
Get a room, he said.
Yeah,
Get a room.
Get a room.
That was really cute. I think that was like my favorite.
Yeah. I just felt bad for Nick because I'm like, he just got out of the whole Andy thing and now he's in the middle of someone else's thing.
Sex
like, no
life,
one
too.
has come to...
Repairing a sex life for
Everyone who watches our
Yeah.
after show knows that I'm a huge Nick fan. So my only thing is that I feel like no one has gone to Nick to check in with him to see how he's doing because he was really into Andy and Andy told her ex-boyfriend that she was in love with him while they were still together. So why has no one gone and be like, hey Nick, how are you doing?
Good point.
Do you need some? Let me help you
maybe
get some.
Nick needs some.
Nick, call me. But you know, I'm just like, Nick is my boy, so I'm gonna be on his side on this.
Tiona can help satisfy that itch.
I mean, Nick, back scratcher, back scratcher.
I'm right here.
I'm right here.
I mean, and if you think about it too, the other guys, I mean, you have Sam, who's not emotionally connected to anyone. You have Diaz, who's on his own downward path. You have Dove, who's kind of obsessed with Chloe right now. So, you know, they have their, not making excuses for the other guys who should check up on Nick, but they're kind of
busy.
Yeah, they're lost in their own personal things too.
Yeah, but I mean, I know him and Gail have been through some things.
No, Oliver should be like, yo, Nick, what's up? How are you doing?
Yeah. Him, or I could even see, like, if him and Gail could just sit down, have a beer, they could both be like, you know what? Girls suck. You know? They could actually have that conversation now and talk a little. They're both in the same boat right now, so why not just kind of help each other out? Well, not with itching, because or Gail needs to stay a lesbian, stay off my man.
I mean, but if you think about it, they were together twice already, so that would just open up a whole nother can of worms.
But I'm saying they could come together as friends now.
They could, I think it'd be a great opportunity for them
for them to come full circle, especially after the whole, like, you know, him dating Andy thing and that crushing her. And I think now could be a time for them.
And
to
in
really
the car, there was kind of a funny little banter when he's like, you know, it's a lesbian thing, and then she went on a pothole and spilled the coffee all over him.
Yeah.
See, it's all great. And then, oh my gosh, guys, we have to talk about Andy and Sam's kiss. for people who are supposed to be just friends.
Just friends. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
But the thing is, like, Sam didn't really fight off that kiss either, because they both claim that they're just friends, but they obviously want to be something more.
And Andy's making her list again.
And she reached right over and kissed him. She, like, you know, that was...
She made that
She went
move.
and got that.
Okay, so one thing, because I'm going to bring up Nick again. Because when I watched the scene in their car, Andy was like, you didn't say anything the whole ride over. You know, you could tell me there was nothing more I could do, something supportive. And I kind of said under my breath, I was like, Nick would have said something. Mm-hmm. Nick would have been there support-wise. And I think those are just a few of the differences and probably what's on her list about, you know, pros and cons of, you know, Nick versus Sam. Sam isn't going to be that guy who's going to be there, like, to tell you, oh, don't worry, pal, you'll get him next time. He doesn't think that you need to hear those things. He's very introvert. Yeah. He keeps that to himself. Mm-hmm. Whereas Nick is going to be
he's more personable.
Yeah, he's more personable. He's going to be out in the open with how he's feeling and tell you every day, like, oh, how was your day? Oh, man, don't worry, you'll do better next time. You know, the next one's going to be
supportive.
Yours. Yeah.
Yeah. Sam's going to be the heartbreaker.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's something...
Yeah, he's the one, the tough one, and Andy wants that one.
I mean, once she got him to talk, though, it was beautiful what he said to her and the reason why she went in for that kiss. But is it worth having to work that hard to get it out of him every time?
Yeah.
No. I don't think that Andy should... I mean, I feel that relationship would be too exhausting to try to constantly get your other partner to talk and know their feelings and connect. That's a one-way connection. That's not, you have to both compromise and meet in the middle. And Sam's not doing that right now. It's really Andy that's doing everything.
Yeah, so that's why I think that they should stay friends for a little while longer, maybe.
Yeah.
So now they kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, now it's kind of like that kiss. What does that mean?
Yeah.
They're still, I mean, she went home separate from him, so we know it didn't mean he got any.
Smile. You know that big smile he had on his face when she got out of the car? He was happy.
He's like making moves.
Yes.
I'm working my way out of the friend zone.
Totally getting it.
That about wraps it up for the episode, but I know that Marisa has a little news and gossip for us.
Yeah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Just a quick little article I read on tvgrapevine.com. It was interviewing Ben Bass, and, you know, just a little bit about him and his character and how he got started actually in acting. That one of his productions when he was a kid, they needed someone for a television show. They needed a kid who knew how to play guitar, and like I said last week in our news and gossip, he knows how to sing and play guitar. So that's how he got kind of started in television production, and then growing up he was part of Shakespeare plays, and also for some research before he got the when he got the Rookie Blue part position, he did a bunch of ride-alongs with actual cops and realized and studied the officers and how they dealt with certain situations, which really had him get a better support and like respect for the police force. And I thought that was really interesting. You know, the method acting. You gotta really learn and put yourself in those positions and situations.
You can really relate.
That's really kind of scary too, to be in a ride-along, because you never know what you're going to be riding up to.
Like anything can happen anywhere.
Yeah. You could get caught out in a
crazy
shootout.
gangbangers. Canada.
Oh, and the best dressed gangbangers I've ever seen. Canadians.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's more than just a white t-shirt. Those guys were like fitted. Coats. Like fitted jeans and like a nice jacket.
The other guy had
not struggling.
They are not struggling over there.
But catch that article on tvgrapevine.com.
Thank you, Marisa.
Cool.
Of course.
Let's get into our predictions for next week.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, we saw in the preview that Duncan goes and lawyers up because, like any good person who deals with cops, first thing you do is ask for a lawyer. But it seems like he's coming after Andy and the division with some accusations. Now, everyone on the YouTube saw last week that, you know, the promos really make us think one thing and then they're actually another. So what do you guys think is really going on?
I just feel with Duncan, there's something. I feel like he went in possibly to stir things up. I feel like he's been sent in to do something.
Like an undercover guy.
Yeah, or, you know, the whole stepdad. I just feel like there's something. It can't just be he's just that dumb. I'm sorry. And the lawyer thing, it makes me think that he's after someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe like Jarvis was kind of in on the plan and like put Duncan in to literally mess up the division, because Tiona and I, we've been talking about maybe Jarvis is trying to take down division in some way, and Duncan might be like the first block to knock everything over. So, I mean, it could be that. But also, I don't see where his allegations would lie, because it was completely his fault. I mean, maybe Andy didn't instruct the best, but it was his actions that he didn't step up. He backed out.
Now, why lawyer up?
I mean,
so quickly.
He really doesn't have a case because it was really his fault.
Yeah,
and he could have just like fought for himself, stood up for himself, like look or something. But to lawyer up, it just seems a little premature.
I mean, it might be like a case for emotional distress, but I don't know what else he can really be fighting.
He can't say sexual harassment. He can't really say any sort of like talking like verbal abuse, because Andy was never any of those things towards him or neglect or anything. If anything,
he doesn't have a strong case.
Yeah, if anything, I think that he's lawyering up because Shaw said that there would be an investigation. And probably just like in protecting himself, he wants, his own sort of investigation to happen too. Because if I'm not just going to automatically trust my current employer, who is investigating me, to not murk some of the details, I would probably want someone on my side, like have both sides have their own separate specialists do their job, and then come out and tell me the results of it and see who found what and what is different and what's similar.
But do we even know what was said, like when he was called into the office? I mean, we don't even really know what happened to what the disciplinary action was going to be against Duncan.
We keep saying that he's probably going to get suspended because he is just a rookie. But if they terminated, I can see why he'd be maybe wrongful termination.
Yeah, that
we
might
don't
be.
know the end results of what that conversation was tonight.
Yeah. So hopefully next week we will see more. Hopefully, that I think that the division has been through so much already that we don't really need them to have any more problems. Yeah. But make sure you guys keep talking to us all week. Let us know what your predictions are, what you think is going to happen. Where can they find you guys on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at Entertainment Crush.
And you can follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can follow me at the Tiona Hobson. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Have a great 4th of July.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, America!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.